What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Eurythmics, and we're back with the last tune on their 1989 album We Tour 1, though there are some bonus tunes in the folder, meaning there's a bit more to go through before we jump ahead in time, but also, when I finish the expanded version, or expanded folder for this album, I will start going through some of Annie's solo stuff, which I've done some Annie solo reactions, but I think most of them, if not all of them, were holiday tunes, because I realized that she had recorded a number of holiday standards. But yes, I'll start going through her proper solo albums. So once again, big shout out to Phil, who shared The Tourist, Eurythmics, and Solo Annie. So yes, the final tune on the album is called, make sure I have this right, When the Day Goes Down. So yeah, it makes me think about the end of a cycle, the end of a duration of time that is bounded by physical experiences or characteristics. Now, of course, I can think about a literal day, the sun setting, as we call it. Of course, the Earth is actually spinning, the sun's not going anywhere. Nevertheless, the point is, it sounds like the end of something's lifespan. So whether that's literally a day here on Earth, or whether that's a duration of a band like Annie and Dave, or whether that is the end of a day, meaning a chapter in someone's life, it feels like it's talking about the conclusion of a period of time that has led up to the present, when the transition is happening. So there's obviously a lot you can take away from that, and maybe the reason I mentioned the band is just because knowing that this was the end of their original run together, I just wonder whether some of these phrases might relate to that perception. So either way, I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. This is Eurythmics. The track is When the Day Goes Down, and it's the final tune on their 1989 album We Two Are One.
Well, don't you cry now. Don't go drowning in your tears. Haven't you learned anything after all these years? And all God's little children are beautiful and pure. You're as good as all of them. Of this you can be sure. And we are just the same underneath the shadows of the sun. And we are just the same, no more, no less than anyone. Lonely world have a piece of pain inside. Don't go thinking you're the only one who ever broke right down and cried. That's when the rain comes down. That's when the rain comes falling down. This is for the broken dreamers, and this is for the vacant souls, and this is for the hopeless losers, and this is for the helpless fools, and the burned out and the useless, and the lonely and the weak, and the lost and the degraded, and the too dumb to speak. And the day goes down, and the day goes down. That's when the day goes falling down, and the day goes down. That's when the day goes down. That's when the day goes and falling down. That's when the day goes and falling down. That's when the day goes 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 down.
Two things about that drumming. I do wonder whether that was actual live drums or whether that was drum machine, which I think most of their tunes are drum machine, right? But the drumming also seemed to represent the rain coming down, which was referenced earlier, and I think the first time we heard those rolls, or I don't know exactly what the technical term is, but those flourishes, I feel like that was in conjunction with the line about the rain coming down. So it sort of fulfilled a narrative function in the song just beyond the sonic quality of it. And I enjoyed the way the first half of the tune was an ambient kind of track. There wasn't much, if any, percussion. It was just this melodic soundscape and Annie's wonderful voice, and then it gained more energy. And in that regard, like, I do wonder if there's a bit of, what's the right word? Not empowerment, but the song seemed to very directly say that this is for the downtrodden, the degraded, the lonely, the losers, the people, the outcast, the people who've been put down, marginalized, exploited, or otherwise trivialized. This isn't a song for the powerful or for the dominant, the confident and self-assured. It was for people who were on the other end of those spectrums, which it was making me emotional just thinking about a song that's giving a shout out to the meek and to the weak and to those who've been taken advantage of. But I'm not quite sure, when the day goes falling down, I was actually thinking right as it started, like, oh, there is another meaning of going down, maybe more modern than when this song was written, although probably not. I'm sure you could find references back in '89 to the idea of something going down, meaning happening. So like, oh, that's about to go down. But I feel like it wasn't that. It was more what I was thinking about, again, the sun coming down, or the day itself falling down, not being able to carry on, not having the same motion that it did before, and thus the end of some duration or cycle, even if it's not with the metaphor of, the sun coming up and then going down. So I don't really know what's happening overall, but I did pick up on the idea that this is a song that can have special meaning for those who felt in a bad way, and it does remind the listener that you're not the only one who's gotten to this point and began crying and felt upset or hurt or sad, depressed. So it's in one way saying you're not unique in that regard, but the other side of that is other people will know what you're feeling. Other people are in your boat too, and you don't need to feel so alone because you can recognize that this is part of the human experience. And it even comes out and says specifically that, everyone has had some suffering. Everyone has felt hurt or weak or at some time or another like they're not getting what they want or the world hasn't aligned in their favor. So yeah, it's an equalizing song is I guess what I mean to say. It suggests that on some level and at some time and in some place, everyone's on that same playing field. Everyone is hurt. Everybody hurts, to quote that song. So yeah, it feels like it's an equalizing song and one where you can have a sense of belonging even as you feel isolated and lonely. So a beautiful tune. Annie, of course, sounding fantastic. Not her biggest tune vocally, not a lot of belting, not a lot of layered Annie vocals like we've heard on a number of Eurythmics tracks, but I think a very beautiful album-ending tune. So as I said, there's a few bonus tracks in the folder. Just get a quick look at those. So the first one is Precious. Interesting. Makes me think of the Depeche Mode tune of that name. I think I've even reacted to a couple tracks of that name from different groups or artists. So in any case, there's 5 bonus tracks. So yeah, as I said, we'll go through those and then I will move on to some Annie solo material. I'm very much looking forward to that. I don't really know much of any of her solo material. Obviously I've heard some holiday songs as I said, but there's a handful like Walking on Broken Glass and No More I Love Yous. I know those 2 tracks, but beyond that, I don't think I've heard much, if any, of her solo material, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Shout out to Phil once again, as well as to Izzy and Mark and many others who've been commenting on the, I was going to say solo Annie, the Eurythmics deep dive up to this point. So let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.